When you hear the word Hinduism, what pops into your head? Ancient rituals, colourful festivals, yoga classes at the gym? Okay, but what if I told you that Hindu concepts are quietly shaping global AI ethics? That Beyoncé literally chants Sanskrit mantras in her music, and that British colonial powers tried and totally failed to erase it? Yep. Welcome to Module 2, Episode 7, and get ready to have your mind blown. So here's the big idea. Hinduism is often described as timeless, unchanging, ancient. And it is one of the oldest living traditions on Earth, no question. But the deeper truth, Hinduism has always been alive. It adapts, it evolves, it moves with the world around it. So what happens when a tradition this ancient gets dropped into the chaos of modernity, when British colonialism tries to rewrite its story, when reformers try to reshape its future, and when the diaspora spreads it across the globe? In this episode, we're unpacking all of that, how Hinduism survived colonial erasure, how it redefined itself through reform, and how it ended up quietly shaping global culture from New Jersey to Nairobi. Let's dive in. All right, let's rewind to 18th century India. This is when the British East India Company starts expanding, and make no mistake, they weren't just there for spices and silk. They brought a whole ideology with them. British officials and missionaries looked at Hinduism through this very distorted lens. They called it superstitious, chaotic, backward. They cherry-picked verses from Hindu texts like the Vedas and twisted their meaning. They exaggerated things like idol worship and the caste system, turning complexity into caricature. But here's the thing, this wasn't just ignorance, it was strategy. By painting Hinduism as irrational, British rulers could justify their control as a civilizing mission. Like, look at these poor people, we have to save them from themselves, and it worked for a while. That colonial attitude triggered three major consequences. First, a deep sense of internalized shame. A lot of Hindus, especially in elite classes, started doubting their own culture. They asked, are we actually backwards? Second, there was external pressure from missionaries. Conversions were aggressively pushed, especially in rural and oppressed communities. And third, the infamous divide and rule tactic. The British locked caste into official categories, freezing what was once a more fluid and local system into a rigid hierarchy that still causes tension today. But here's what's wild. Hinduism didn't just passively absorb all this, it resisted, quietly at first and then loudly. And that brings us to the reformers. In the 19th century, a bold generation of Hindu thinkers rose to reclaim and reframe their tradition. They didn't reject Hinduism, they purified and reinterpreted it from within. Let's meet a few of them. Raja Ram Mohan Roy founded the Brahmo Samaj in 1828, rejected practices like sati and child marriage, said the true spirit of the Vedas was rational and ethical. Swami Dayananda Saraswati launched the Arya Samaj in 1875, pushed for a return to the pure Vedic texts and monotheism, advocated for women's education and caste reform. Swami Vivekananda, inspired by his guru Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, electrified the West at the 1893 Parliament of the World's Religions, presented Hinduism as a universal religion and a science of consciousness. These reformers were game changers. They made it possible to modernize Hinduism without westernizing it. They defended it with reason, reformed it with compassion, and translated it into spiritual language the world could understand. Meanwhile, something else was happening. Hinduism was quietly going global. The diaspora. During British rule, Indian labourers were sent to places like Trinidad, Fiji, Mauritius, and South Africa as indentured workers. They brought their gods, stories, and temples with them. Even under hardship and poverty, Hindu traditions survived across generations. Fast forward to today, Durga Pujas in New Jersey, Bhagavad Gita study circles in Nairobi, monumental temples like Bap Swaminarayan, Akshardham in New Jersey, funded by Hindu communities worldwide. Then came the 1960s spiritual boom. Western youth were looking for deeper meaning, and Hindu teachers answered. Maharishi Mahesh Yogi brought transcendental meditation. Prabhupada started ISKCON, the Hare Krishna movement. Paramahansa Yogananda wrote autobiography of a yogi and founded the Self-Realization Fellowship. Suddenly, yoga wasn't just exercise, it was a spiritual path. Meditation wasn't fringe, it was a way to connect with your true self. Karma, mantra, and guru became mainstream words. Today, Hinduism shows up everywhere in pop culture. Beyoncé chants Sanskrit mantras in her music. The Om symbol is a fashion icon, and mindfulness apps are built on Hindu-inspired practices. But let's be real for a second. Not all of this global popularity has been respectful. We've seen McMindfulness, where spirituality is stripped of meaning, karma used like it just means luck. Hindu practices cherry-picked without understanding or context. Some call it cultural appropriation, others see it as global evolution, and honestly, Hinduism has always walked that line. It's always absorbed new influences, it's always adapted to new times. Because at its core, it isn't about dogma, it's about truth-seeking. It re-emerges because it's Sanatana, eternal. Not because it never changes, but because it always finds its way back to Dharma. So where is Hinduism now? It's at a fascinating crossroads, rooted in ritual, global in reach, shaping tech, wellness, and even global ethics. Examples: Vedic astrology readings in Berlin, apps guiding pilgrims through the Kumbh Mela, debates about AI ethics drawing from Hindu ideas of cosmic order. Gandhi's Hindu-inspired nonviolence influencing MLK and Nelson Mandela. Some say all this is diluting Hinduism, others say it's evolving, but the truth is, it's always done both. From the Upanishads to Instagram Reels, Hinduism's not stuck in the past. It's alive, it's fluid, it's everywhere. So next time someone asks, is Hinduism still relevant? You can say, not only is it relevant, it's quietly rewriting the code of modern life. If you haven't watched Module 1, go there now. We unpack Hinduism's origin stories and earliest roots. Super foundational. And coming up in Module 3, we're diving into the core. What do Hindus actually believe? Karma, moksha, Dharma, and why there are 330 million gods, sort of. Make sure you subscribe, hit the bell, and comment below. What part of Hinduism's modern journey surprised you most? Reformers, the global takeover, Beyoncé? Let us know. See you in the next one.